a good job. We didn't care too much about the FA Cup anyway. We were already going to win one cup this season. Welcome back to Where Bluebirds Walk. Hope you're doing well. We're here, of course, reviewing the latest results in Cardiff City's season. The brilliance over Wrexham and the just god-awfulness against Peterborough. How are you all doing? We're also getting Jamie to predict where Cardiff will finish this season. Now we've got a quarter of the season gone, and with bonfire night on the horizon, we're asking our panel here which one player needs a rocket. Plus, we're continuing with the A to Z of Cardiff as well, getting into the letter D. But we've got Jamie back with us, fresh back from travelling the country this week. Let's start with Wrexham, shall we, Jamie? By far the better team. How good was that?
It was brilliant. I unfortunately only saw the last 25 minutes of it because the train journey, unfortunately, there was a casualty on the line. So I think we just made the most of it. He said, no matter what minute we get up there, we get up there. But do you know what? We missed the Keith Moore goal. We watched that on the coach and then we got in. And it was a brilliant atmosphere. It felt like a proper heated contest. I think all the 11 players and the subs were really up for it. And I thought we were the better side overall. I know Wrexham fans were critical of their manager's team selection. But at the end of the day, you play what's in front of you. And to a man, I thought we were brilliant on Tuesday night.
Yeah, well, they were ready to sack him on Friday. Had they not been commentary, it was getting that toxic in the Wrexham Twitter circles. But, I mean, this isn't a fluke now, is it? I mean, people saying beating Burnley was a fluke. I mean, you've now done Wrexham as well. I mean, Chelsea? I mean, is that where it ends?
Stranger things have happened, isn't it? Again, you never know what type of Chelsea side are going to come down. It'll be a busy night in terms of capacity, no doubt. And with it being at home, you'd expect the home fans to make some noise and make it uncomfortable. I know a few of us have got, the last time we played Chelsea, there was that iconic Azpilicueta goal, which should never have stood in the month of Sundays. So that adds a little bit of, let's say, revenge angle to it. But listen, we seem to turn up against bigger teams or in bigger games. And whether that's a mentality thing or, you've got to be at it that extra 5-10%, who knows? But, we're in the quarterfinals. Why not go out with a bang and just give it your all? And if we lose 4-0, we lose 4-0, but go at it and we're at home. So make it uncomfortable for Chelsea.
Yeah. Does it make you immensely proud, Jamie, that, that of the 8 teams that are left in that competition, we've got the 7 Premier big boys and Cardiff?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to, at the end of the day, is you get this far. It is a record for a Welsh side for a long time as well. Burnley are no mean feat, at their own place on a cold Tuesday night and what have you. They've still had some quality players and we had to beat what was in front of us. We then go to, a Wrexham ground, which, you've got the whole Hollywood behind it. You had the Sky and the ITV cameras there. There was all that aspect to do it. So there was pressure. And you never want to lose against, a fellow country, a side in your country. So, we've done well, and we've shown some good glimpses, and arguably our better football has probably come in those two respective ties against Burnley and Wrexham. So, you've got to be proud. You've got to be happy with what we've achieved so far in the Carabao Cup. We just probably want to see a bit more. I think our manager alluded to it after the game on Saturday. A bit more consistency with the way in which we're playing. I think because we went from so high on Tuesday at Wrexham to feeling the opposite probably on Saturday after the Peterborough game.
Seems to be a bit of a win one, lose one, win one, lose one pattern going on at the moment. Let's have a chat about the Peterborough game. Then first of all, obviously against Luke Williams, which is really not gonna go down well. But John says we need to cut out the inconsistencies. You've said another mediocre performance with Robertson in the middle. He needs to pick up the pace. That said, I'm quite glad that we're out. We have such a small squad. The league is a priority, followed by the Virtue and the Carabao. We don't need these extra games. First of all, do you agree with the last sentiment? Are you glad you're out the FA Cup? And what about this Robinson statement here?
Yeah, I mean, my bank balance has certainly taken a hit with all these added games. I mean, we haven't had a home game, in a while now, it feels. So all this travelling, all this extra game, we've got Blackpool coming this weekend as well. So it's a lot of mileage to do. And naturally that'll take it out on fans, players and what have you. I know that's probably an excuse, but yeah, I'm happy. We had to give something. Had to give. You can't be playing, game after game after game after game with such a short and young squad that we've got, a small squad. That being said, for 90 minutes, you have the right mentality. You have to have that right intensity. And we went with a side that even Barry Murphy has said himself that was more than able to win that game. And we flattered to deceive. We had some half chances, I would probably say, throughout the game. They didn't offer anything, but to be honest and to be fair to them, they didn't have to. They took their one chance, and new manager Luke Williams just kind of sat them in and knew that by probably crowding up the midfield, we'd struggle to get the ball out wide and find that little bit of quality. And it was a bit disappointing. I was a bit frustrated at the end. I think just you never like to lose a game, do you? But yeah, we're out. We move on. And no doubt the EFL will probably put us against Huddersfield on the weekend that the second round of the FA Cup is. So it's not. We probably won't get a break.
There was another way of looking at it, which this fan here says. Simon says, "Take the cameras away, and the true Cardiff City will turn up." What a year 2025 has been. Relegated to the bottom two tiers for the first time in over 20 years, and now we're knocked out of the cup in the first attempt. And it's a new feeling, isn't it, for some Cardiff fans? Usually they're in the third round, drawing, big teams, looking forward, and yeah, January's gonna feel a bit empty, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely new for me. I mean, the FA Cup draw as we speak will be happening this evening, and any cup draw, you want to be in it, don't you? You want to be that sort of who we're going to get, which ground you're going to visit that you've never visited before, and so on. It's never nice to lose. It's always worse when you go out in the first round as well, because it makes it look like you're not a very good team and so on. I think it's never great, but it's happened now, and as much as it's not nice, we got to move on, forget about it, and we've got a big game this weekend.
Yeah, let's have a chat more about that. This is another take. Jones says, we lost, we lost because the third is, it's not nice, is it? Not nice on the eye. I've got to be honest.
No, to be honest, like third kits, it just feels like they're almost an aspect of just selling a kit, or you're only going to use them a handful of times, and I think we beat Wigan away in it respectively, but yeah, we didn't perform, and if you're in a high vis sort of colour and you don't perform, you'll stand out even more. And unfortunately, someone said that we'd almost look like traffic cones. A Peterborough fan said so. Yeah, wasn't particularly great.
Okay, his starting lineup. I mean, it puzzled a few fans. Jamie, I don't know about you. Amity here saying, Paul Bacon's going to be dust by the end. Did you expect him to rest maybe Colwell and Bacon for the game? Did he go a bit too strong?
I mean, I understand his want and desire to win every game, and I think that's great. But I think I was shocked when I seen the team news come out, and it was almost like we were playing a league fixture that was a very strong squad. That I know it says the term on paper, that probably was more than enough to win the game, or should have been. I think looking back on it, maybe the players didn't reach the intensity levels that were required and demanded by the manager, because maybe the Tuesday night, the demand that they had on Tuesday night, maybe it just caught up on them. But then again, the best person to know that is the manager who has picked the squad. So that probably is not really a reason for it. If he feels they're the best team to do the job and they didn't, then he's going to have to go back to the drawing board, isn't he? And I think he said in his press conference after the game, they should have done better. And there is inconsistency in the team that he is trying to eradicate.
Yeah. One player that came out glowing of colours, certainly from the Wrexham game anyway, was Will Fish, who's back, and you've spoken on here a couple of times already about his importance. Yeah, how good has he been?
He's probably up there with one of the players this season so far. I mean, you look at this time last year, it's night and day. How we're now seeing probably the true Will Fish, the reason why he was in Manchester United's system for a number of years. It's never nice being relegated, and we've discussed this on numerous episodes where sometimes there is a silver lining to things. And in this case, I think Will Fish is one of those players that he is still fairly young. And there's nothing better as a defender probably to learn and be exposed to physical League One old school strikers. And at the minute we're seeing a very good bag of the defensive side, but also his attacking ability to be able to distribute passes. And yeah, Will Fish has been a real bright spark this season so far.
It's Whipple then next, as we say. I'm sure it's not in a summer one. This one, this has been nicer, nicer to visit. With the season now being a quarter over, Jamie, we're going to ask you to review kind of your predictions. I think at the start of the season, I think you put them in the playoffs, or at least just around the playoffs. Where are you at now, given what you've watched?
I'm still around the same. I think January is going to be a key thing for us, and to get to January would be massive, simply because I feel like I know Brian Barry Murphy has said he likes to work with smaller squads, but the sheer amount of games that we've had, my worry is that we will pick up injuries, especially like someone mentioned there about Joe Bagan. We are very thin in certain areas, and there is a demand on the players physically more than anything. Playoffs would be okay, especially with the fact we haven't really spent, if anything at all. But yeah, I think the first block, you've got to be happy. You're going to expect a few little bumps in the road. It's never nice to lose a football game, but I can see a better way of playing. I can see there's an evolution within this team. And I can see a sense of maturity at the minute with some of the youngsters where they've had a bit of adversity and they've come back. Dylan Lawler at the start of the season, as we mentioned on previous episodes, where it was just an adjustment period for him, to get used to how the strikers are physically. And they're starting to show, some bright sparks. And I think that replicates with the amount of call-ups internationally that we're starting to see, that there is recognition for, especially the youngsters at our football club.
Yeah, okay. Since you've obviously been away from some action, Stockport and Bradford have jumped ahead of you. I know you've got that game in hand. Are you one of those that prefers to be chasing them down, or do you prefer to be chased?
I think I'm the one who's chasing them down, just because I think there's more pressure on the people above you. That's just me speaking, but you can see what you've got to get to it, as opposed to kind of almost worrying that the results are going elsewhere behind you and you're losing respectively and so on. We've been at the top. We know what it feels like, albeit it was a short time. But I still think there's a lot of movement to be happening. Like I said, in January, different clubs have different resources available to them. I think we possibly may have to use our resource and just try and give us that bit more of an edge to push us to the latter part of the season. But it's still a long way off, and I think there's still a lot of teams to go up and down respectively in that top 8, because it is very tight.
Yeah. Having played both of them yet and not beaten them yet, are you slightly worried?
No, I think Stockport away was always going to be a tricky game. Edgeley Park is like what London Park was to us. It's a sort of an uncomfortable place for teams to go. They make it their own. They condense the pitch, and they've got a good manager in Dave Challoner who knows the club inside out. And I take my hat off to them. They've done really well. We were lucky to get a point there. As for Bradford, the Bradford game, they had a brilliant goal, and I think they showed us almost, I think a few of us were like, hang on a minute, they're not afraid. And that was a good thing. I think, I took my hat off to Alexander after the game. He told his team, don't give them the respect. They may be a big club, but so are they, and so on. And they came down with good numbers, and, they did very well. So credit to them. But the replays, I would fancy us to beat Stockport at home when we do play them. Bradford have conceded quite a few goals. So, I'm not worried about that. And I think there's still a lot of games to go, where we went to Bolton, and Bolton's going to be a tricky place for these teams to go as well. So there's a lot of teams fighting each other, which can only benefit the sides like Cardiff if we've been to these tricky places.
Brilliant. Okay. We'll all be here for it every single week. Thank you very much. Apologies for watching last week. We had massive issues on the sound. Thank you for staying with us and coming back for that. Hopefully we've sorted it now this week. Finally, Jamie, then it's Fireworks Bonfire Night on Wednesday. Which one player for you needs a rocket, would you say, this season hasn't quite lit up the way that you expected him to?
The term rocket, I think it depends. I mean, I think someone's comment there about Alex Robertson in the previous slides. I think Alex Robertson's going to probably take a bit of time because his lack of match fitness. But I'd love to see the Alex Robertson when he first signed for Cardiff City, that sort of number 6/8 that was spraying balls around, was back and forth, the top end of the pitch doing his defensive duties. That's someone I really, really would love to see kind of now pick up the pace and get there quite quickly, because I think we do need that. We've got Joel Colwell, but he can't do it all himself. We've got Ryan Wintle. Ryan Wintle's probably more of a sort of defensive midfielder, old school 6. So we need someone who can probably mix it up a little bit. And I think David Turnbull at times as well needs maybe to sit out, maybe sit a time on the bench, and maybe Alex Robertson. But yeah, Alex Robertson, I think, is someone I'd love to see just not necessarily get a rocket up his backside for a good reason, but just to speed up the recovery, the match fitness process, and hopefully become like a key figure in the midfield for us.
Okay. Brill. Let us know in the comments if Jamie's missed any. Who would you say needs a rocket? And of course, we finished with the A to Z of Cardiff. We're up to the letter D this week, Jamie. Any thoughts on this?
Well, there's 2 shout-outs. So obviously, legend that is our top goal scorer, Len Davis. So that's probably the noticeable one. I went a little bit sort of left field with this one, because we've recently, with the Virtue Trophy, managed to break our own club history with a young player who was 15 years old and 234 days, making his professional debut, Axel Donchel. I think his second name is, I'm not very good, but he was 15 years old when he broke the record. So it was a game where we started a 16-year-old, which broke Aaron Ramsey's record. And then we brought on this youngster, Axel, who was 15. So that would be my left field one, is give a shout out to Axel. But Len Davis, he's our top goal scorer of the club in history, and I don't think he'll ever be caught.
Yeah, it has to go to Len, doesn't it? Absolutely. Are there any that we've missed as well? Let us know, of course, in the comments. Right, thanks, Jamie. Enjoy your trip to the Golden Mile in Blackpool, and we'll see you. In a week's time. Thank you, of course, so much for watching. Have a good week.